What's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. I don't know. I don't know if this is working. So I'm trying to run a YouTube live stream, and then we're on the Zoom. So I'm not too sure how that's working. Oh, there seems to be two cameras, the one for Zoom and then the one for the YouTube live. Right. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Terence, wondering if today's analysis will be sent to the Telegram channel because you've only got 20 minutes. Yeah, so well, I'll try my best to record. I'm not too sure how that will work running both streams, but I'll try. Yeah. I'm also not too sure how this will work in terms of connection, lag, and all that sort of stuff. So we'll have to see. Morning, guys. I opened the charts this morning and looked at GJ daily, and your works about looking for bottom wicks and daily flips ran through me. Yeah, so we'll speak about that. Something quite important. Looking clean today. Yeah, decided to go and get a haircut yesterday. It was well overdue. Yeah, LP. So gold did do its thing yesterday, but we didn't get entry over there. I did look at the lower time frames, but as a result of the fundamentals, we just had an impulsive push straight through. So yeah, we didn't manage to get anything there. Yeah, yesterday once again load shedding, so we didn't have electricity during New York session. So that's obviously why I did not show up. Why I managed to get into those GJ buys, so I'll break that down as well. Very, very, very important. Why did GU tank yesterday in the evening? No idea. I was enjoying a dinner, so I didn't really pay too much attention to that. But GJ, I'm still holding that bullish bias, that long bias. But we'll talk about that now. I just want to see, okay, great. So we've got a nice turn up here again this morning. I'll give the others a chance to kind of join the Zoom. Right, so for those currently on the YouTube live, if you're a bit confused as to why I'm like running back and forth and speaking to individuals, it's because I'm live with the community as well. So yeah, I just thought I would let you tag along for session. Right. So we've got a bank holiday in the US today, so that means obviously we won't be sitting for New York, right? We won't be sitting for New York, so we've got the day free today. Good morning, Ray. I hope you are well this morning. Okay. Okay, I think we're ready to go. I think we are ready to go. So I just quickly want to look at GBP. I just quickly want to look at GBP JPY. I think that that's quite important. So just a quick one for the community, guys. You'll see that I've removed the video because it's just like interfering with the whole YouTube live stream. So if any of this stuff is loaded onto the members portal, you unfortunately won't see my face. But it is what it is. Anyway, let's quickly get into pound yen. Yeah, you see, so there is a slight lag here, but let's see if we can kind of work with this. Yeah, all right. So just quickly looking at pound yen. Right, what I want to do is I'll try, let me see if this will record, because I'd like to share this in the community channel.
Recording in progress.
Oh yeah, there you go. So that works quite nicely. All right, so looking at pound yen on the daily time frame, you can see that we are obviously bearish. Now, yesterday's daily closing strong bearish, indicating that, well, sellers are still in control. Buyers look to be taking control yesterday upon that rejection, but we then obviously saw price react at the top of that consolidation range once again. So just looking at the daily, you can see that we've identified our critical support region over here, right? So that is where we are looking for potential buys. Now, with that being said, am I going to look at getting involved with sells? No, not at the moment, because we are selling into a critical support region, okay? So I'm still bullish at the moment. Now, if we drop down to the 4 hour and we have a look at those buys that we managed to get involved in on Monday, GBP USD, right? Now, pretty much very, very similar move. Now, the sell-off was obviously a result of the interest rate announcement that came out. And we obviously need to correct this at some point or another. And we saw that correction on GBP USD on Monday. And now we're looking at something very similar here on GBP JPY. So obviously we are still sitting within this consolidation range. We've been sitting here for the entire week. And now obviously, getting above that critical resistance, the resistance that we managed to react at yesterday evening, we get above that and we will then see price fill this range to complete the higher time frame retest. But now looking at where price is currently trading and looking at the daily time frame, keeping that daily time frame in mind, if we look at that consolidation range, okay, and we just quickly map that out, there's something very, very important that has occurred here. Now, you would have seen that was a daily low, okay? That was the daily low that we were looking at that was created on the 8th. Yeah, so looking at that, yesterday evening, price managed to break below that level, right? Managed to get below the daily low. Now, obviously, that was not something we were going to trade given the time of day. But looking at that, we would have expected price to continue short. But now, we need to take note of where price is on the daily, like I've just said. And if you look to the left-hand side at most recent structure, you'll see how we have that significant level over there. So just quickly going back to the daily, you'll see how we just got a slightly deeper pullback into this region, okay, into this wick region, because this wick region is our support zone, okay? Price has not yet revisited or visited this level on the higher time frame. So this is now the higher time frame retest. We still need to correct this move, okay? That's obviously something that will take a while to play out. But nevertheless, moving back to the 4 hour, what we've seen here is a break below the daily low into this region where price has obviously now reacted, okay? Also looking at the psychological level of 152.500, we've reacted at that and we've managed to close back above that previous daily low. So closing back above that previous daily low, getting back into this consolidation range, we can now look at more of an aggressive, buy, but it is probable given what we are currently seeing. Now, for us to start looking at getting involved here, we obviously need to see higher time frame confirmation, higher time frame or breaking higher time frame structure. Because remember, looking at that 4-hour bearish candle, we are still bearish. We're still holding below the structure over here. Okay, so that's very important to take note of within the middle of the consolidation range. So looking at the current 4-hour candle, if this manages to close strong bullish into this region here, we could then see price, the new 4-hour candle open, pull back into that minor support to then continue, and that is where we could see the buying or buyers step in and take control. Okay, but at the moment, I'm definitely not looking for potential shorts. And will I look at potential shorts of the break of the current low? No, I will not. Why? Well, looking at this here to the left-hand side, you can see that wick region. It's not the greatest range to work with. Okay, so I won't be looking for downside potential on pound yen at the moment. If buys don't happen to come in today, I'll leave it alone and come back tomorrow. But that's just pretty much what we're looking at here on pound yen. Now, this is obviously, like I said, a bit more of an aggressive play, but it is something that we can look at. For those in the focused group, this comes down to setup variation 3. Remember, we covered a very similar setup in the session we had. So if you go back to that, you'll see that this is the exact same setup that we're looking at. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at here on pound yen.
Recording stopped.
Okay. What about the daily candle not having created the bottom wick? Dylan, I'm not too phased about that just yet. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, because if structure is taken out here, there is still room for the daily candle to close strong engulf, right? But we'll have to see, because at the moment we are still bearish. So we'll have to see what happens. Does that make sense though, in terms of what we're waiting for? You understand why we are not looking at selling here at the moment? Okay. So yeah, that's pound yen. Let's move over to pound. Well, let me just quickly map this out so that we know exactly what we're looking at over here. So we'll keep this zone over there just so that we know we are not looking to sell into that. Okay. Something else to take note of. We've only got, what's that? Although it's a 27 pip range, that wick region over there puts me off. Okay. Anyway, that's what we're looking at, GBP JPY. So a bit of patience is required here. Okay. GBP USD looking interesting. Yeah, it definitely is. Let's move over to GBP USD, and we could definitely see continuation to the downside here. There we go. There we go. So looking at the daily time frame, we could maybe even set this one live. We've now got Frankfurt open, but looking at the daily, you can see that we are obviously bearish, strong bearish close on yesterday, and we managed to get below our daily level. Okay, so looking at that, if we quickly scroll to the left, because remember what we covered in the webinar, yesterday, the day before, when we spoke about when do we need to scroll left, and this is where we need to scroll further left, because we don't have anything to the immediate left to base anything off of, right? This is the only price action we have, and now that price has got below that daily level, we've entered a fresh range and we don't have anything below that level. So now we need to start scrolling to the left hand side just to see what we have over there. And now looking at the daily time frame, it is not all that clear. So we now need to start moving down to the lower time frames. Now before we do that, let's quickly map this out here. So we'll map that level out, but we'll use the daily zone there. So we'll extend it up with that wick region. So looking at this, we could definitely see continuation to the downside, possibly into equal lows. That 1.34 is a bit concerning, right? It is slightly concerning, that psychological level. Scrolling to the left here, we'll just have a look at what we've got below that daily level, what sort of price action, what sort of structure we have. So just give me a second. Okay, so there you can see price reacted around 1.34 being a psychological level, and you can see how that ties into a nice support region. Now, yes, I'm sure a lot of you are seeing potential shorts at the moment retesting that critical zone, right? But for me, the safest play will come in with a break of the low, okay, the low of 1.34. So what we are currently looking at, because we've got the structure here and it ties into that critical zone on the daily time frame, what I would look at is, although we are now retesting this region here, I do not want to start, getting involved here just purely based on the fact that we saw price reject 1.34. So I will wait for a break of that. I will wait for a break of 1.34 where price will then enter that fresh range, and we can then see the current daily candle flip bearish, and we can get that continuation, that higher time frame continuation with momentum, right? So just quickly looking at the hourly. So looking at the structure here, we can actually refine that zone a little bit. So refining that on the hourly, you can see how price has reacted here. But now looking at getting involved here, although it ties in with the higher time frame, okay, you are selling into a lower time frame consolidation range, so it's a slight mess over here. So for me, it would make more sense waiting to get below that fresh low, right? And then that takes out 1.34, and we can then look at a target of 1.335, which then gives us about 50 pips. Okay, so just looking at that there, mapping that out over there. Now, I'm sure looking at the hourly, we've mapped that out, but if we drop down to the lower time frames, we can start refining that. Okay, we can refine that so that we have a smaller zone to work with. So that's essentially what we're looking at. Now, looking at the current price action, if we have a look at the 30-minute, if this 30-minute manages to close bearish engulf, right, that means we've taken out, or we will take out structure. We'll take out that lower time frame bearish structure. And what do I mean by that? Well, if we drop back down to the 5-minute, you'll see that is what we will take out, that structure there, okay? And we could then see a sell-off back into the low, and once we get below the low, we could then fill the range that we are looking at. But for now, this lower time frame consolidation range, I'm not interested in selling through, okay? And then that just brings me back to the daily, which is very important. Looking at the current daily candle, give price room, give price the chance to pull back, create the top wick of the daily, which will then just result in lower time frame retests. Let the sellers step in again. Let price push into that low, into the fresh low, and as soon as price pushes into that fresh low, we know, well, that's the first step in the current daily candle flipping bearish to then get that continuation. So then we've just got to monitor a break of that fresh low, and we can then look at that continuation through the fresh critical range. So does that make sense? Are we all on the same page? We are definitely not looking for buys. Okay, we are definitely not looking for buys here. For those on the live stream, smash that like button. We don't really have the. Okay, so let's quickly go back. Um, it's crazy how my analysis is almost the same as yours since a couple of weeks. Yeah, but Ray, it doesn't surprise me. Like, it really does not surprise me. Especially because, you've been with the community for however many months. You show up every single day. So it is only a matter of time before it becomes second nature and before, it all clicks. Um, but big ups to you. Let's say price is at an all-time high or low. Would you go on about trading? How would I go on about trading that? Well, you just then look at round psych levels. So your two biggest psych levels, obviously. So if we look at the current price here and just the structure we're currently working with, we've got 1.33 or 1.34. So you say we that 1.34 was an all-time low, okay, and we didn't have anything to the left-hand side, then if we were to break that, we would then just look at the target of 1.335, and then obviously 1.335 into 1.33. So that's, but yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much. Yeah, same as mine. Joined 7 days ago. Yeah, it doesn't take long for it to click. It's not rocket science. This is trading in its simplest form. Please talk about the GJ trade you took yesterday. All right, I will think about that. uh, Given it's a bank holiday in the US, is it still valid to trade today? Yeah, 100%. We can definitely look at New York session. New York. Listen to me. What I'm trying to think, I'm reading a question while trying to answer another. Um, so, because it's a US bank holiday, we will not be sitting down. We will not be trading New York session, but we could definitely look at something for London session, right? For pound. Um, so yeah, now that we've got a US bank holiday, we could see pound dollar continue selling off. Um, so we'll see if we don't get anything during London session for the morning, we'll just call it a day. It's been an incredible week again, so there's no need to force something. So just looking at the hourly here on GBP USD, if the hourly were to close, bearish engulf like this, rejecting, we could look at a bit more of an aggressive entry, getting back into the low to then break. But obviously the safest, the most high, or the highest probable play will come in with a break of that low. Looking at the hourly, looking at the time, it's 9 minutes past the hour, right? We're 9 minutes into Frankfurt Open, and the hourly doesn't have a top side to it. What has happened on the open of the hour? The open of the hour has pulled us, or price has pushed straight down. I would have preferred to see price push straight up and then reject to push down. That would have, piqued my interest. But because we haven't, and because we're looking at that higher time frame candle formation, we need to take that into consideration, because we've still got 50 minutes in the hour. A lot can happen in 50 minutes. So that nothing says that this hourly candle has to create a top side, because it doesn't have to do that. It really doesn't. But what I'm saying is, that's something we need to be mindful of. If the current hourly candle closes strong bearish engulf like this without creating the top side, different story, because the hourly candle has then closed. But while it's still open, there is still room for that. Please, I want to ask a question. Can I get the time for New York session and London session? I lack the knowledge about the time. I'm not too sure where you're from, so what you can do is go onto investing.com, and then what you can do is just there's a little clock at the top. Click on that, and it'll show you the session opens. Just set the calendar to your time zone, and then it will give you the times of session open. Please explain the concept of liquidity. Why do you want to complicate things for yourself? Because if I sit here and explain the concept of liquidity to you, that's going to create noise, unconscious noise, right? Because you're going to, we have this simple approach. You have this simple approach. Now that, you know, I've explained the concept of liquidity, and I've spoken about supply, I've spoken about demand, I've spoken about the order accumulation phase, the all that sort of stuff, right? Although there's deeper understanding, and although there's substance within that, what I've done is I understand all of that. It's in the back of my mind, but it's irrelevant to how we trade. So what I've done is I've simplified it into the simplest form possible, and that's how I teach you all in the community. So keep it that way, right? Because I have filtered all of that out, so that because it doesn't really, it's not needed, right? But the point I'm getting at is now I sit here and I explain all of those concepts, and immediately you start thinking, well, hold on a minute, I was looking at this, but it hasn't, you know, because I understand this about liquidity, and because supply says this and demand says that, and the chart isn't aligning with that, I don't think that this is a setup to get involved in, and then you miss the setup, or you see something else. So it causes noise, right? So just don't worry about it. Point is, don't worry about it, because it's not going to help you. You've got this simplest form right in front of you. Don't try and complicate it. Maybe not the answer you were looking for, but that's just the reality. That's just the fact. And you know that's why having a mentor is so important. That is why having a mentor is so important, because somebody who's been through that process can tell you straight that, you know, it's not, you don't need to dive into that. You don't need to dive into that. Yeah, cool. It would be great to understand, but it's not going to make you profitable. So why focus on it? So let's put it this way. Let's put it this way in simple terms. How we trade, right? And how we look at the chart, how we understand price movement, how we understand structure, how we understand fresh ranges, critical lows, critical highs, critical zones, right? All of that, just knowing and understanding that from sitting in front of a chart and dissecting it, it just, how do I put this? You unconsciously understand liquidity. You unconsciously understand, you consciously understand the confluence of trend lines, the confluence of fib levels, the confluence, because once you see a naked chart, once you see structure for what it is and price action for what it is, and then you look at that and you say, well, hold, let's look at this naked chart, but let's start putting everything on this naked chart. You'll see that all it is confluence, and you know, those fib levels tie into support and resistance. The trend lines tie into support and resistance. Liquidity ties into supply demand zones. Supply and demand zones tie into order blocks. Order blocks are support and resistance. So support and resistance in its simplest form is what we look at. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? I think that's very, very important to take away. Very important. Hope that makes sense. I'm not like I'm not the greatest when it comes to like putting all these, thoughts into words, but yeah. I hope that makes sense. James, are you referring to the trade that we took on Monday? Are you referring to the trade we took on Monday? James, you here? Are you here? Yeah, so James, what I've done is when we had that last webinar, I actually broke that down. I did record it. I think it's actually sitting at like an 11, 12-minute recording. So I'll look at putting that onto the members portal. But under the educational section, because there's something very important to take out of that from an educational point of view with regards to the effect of a fundamental and how that brings about such an incredible, such a highly probable opportunity. So I'll look at uploading that to the portal. Go over the GU analysis from yesterday, why that would not have been an entry confirmation. Okay, let's just quickly, just want to miss anything here. Right. Okay, so let me just quickly. Right. Let's have a look at the following. So, okay, we'll monitor the low over there. I'm not too worried about where we are currently trading. So we were looking at that level there, right? Okay, sorted. So, Kyle, what time frame did you see confirmation? Yeah, I know that. I know we were looking at buys over here, but let me see where you saw confirmation. Let's look at the hour. So we're currently on the hour, right? We had that strong hourly close. Let's go to the 30-minute. Right, we then had that strong 30-minute close into the zone. There was no confirmation within that. We then had another 30-minute close over there. And we then had, we didn't have any 30-minute confirmation over there, right? Let's go to the 15-minute. Right, so now where we don't have confirmation here on the 15-minute either. Let's go down to the 5-minute. Where are you seeing confirmation? Here? Take note of the time. What was the time? What was the time? Middle of the day. We out of session. We're just before New York session. And we had 5 minutes to go till an hourly close. So what have we said before? How strong is an hourly close? An hourly close is very, very strong. So, given the hour, which then closed like that, there was no confirmation within that. Yes, we had a wick. But there wasn't any confirmation. And if we then drop down to the 5 minute after that, and we have a look at there was no confirmation on the 5 minute, then it just became consolidation. Right? Then it just became consolidation. And if you go back to the Discord channel and you take note of a message that I sent, not every engulf is a confirmation. Not every engulf is an entry confirmation. Please write that down. Please write that down. Put it somewhere on the bottom of your computer screen. Timing is so important. Okay. Just give me a second. We're looking at GU. GU looks good at the moment. Remember I spoke about that 30-minute. Remember I spoke about that 30-minute close. So let's just quickly we can map this out for that, just to take note of that structure. Okay, but just so I wanna expand or open this to the full screen. But just before we do that, pound yen, we're not looking at anything here, especially because we're not looking for downside potential. You can see that now we've got two pairs, right? We've got pound yen, we've got pound dollar. Now we've got the option. We've got an option. So we say, well, let's look at the aspect of trade selection. If we're going to look at downside potential on pound yen and we're going to look at downside potential on pound dollar, what looks better? What's clearer? What seems to be more probable? And it's, you don't even have to think about that. It's GBP USD. No doubt about that. Higher time frame, structure, momentum, just everything. Okay, so that's what we focus on. Simple. Now, let's go to the 30-minute. And remember I said to you, looking at the 30-minute at the moment, we close strong bearish engulf like this, and we would get below structure, right? We would get below structure. So what structure am I talking about? I'm talking about that structure there. So we could then see the 30-minute open pull back to push into the low, and then we break the low into that fresh range to continue pushing to get the flip of the daily candle. Okay, so that's what we can definitely see. Let's have a look at what the 15 minutes given us. 15 minute hasn't given us much. Okay, 15 minute has not given us much. All we've seen here on the 15 minute is a break in this structure here. Okay, which that's the first thing that we need to take note of. So now looking at the 30-minute, which is 4 minutes away, that's something that looks good. But now looking at risk reward, we don't have the greatest risk reward here. So if that were to be something to trade, we're looking at 2, call it about 2, okay? Which, RR of 2 trading through a lower time frame consolidation range like this, do you think it's worth putting the risk on the table for an RR like that? I don't. I'd rather wait for a break of the fresh low, the new low, right? That's where I'm more than happy to put risk on. But here within this lower time frame consolidation range, I'm not happy to put risk on the table. Then there's others that will go full margin mode. Yeah. I feel like just a lack of patience, really. Trying to get on. Okay, Alexander. Hi. I've been struggling with level marking. I watched the educational video, but also when watching your trade breakdowns, your level marking is next level, and I'm struggling to find those critical levels. Okay, so there is an educational recording on zones, identifying critical zones and refining critical zones on the community portal. So go and have a look at those, go watch those, and then if you still don't understand, then let me know and we can, I'll look at hosting or covering that in the next community webinar. Am I in GBP? Oh, no, I'm not. Hold on. People are going to get the wrong impression there. People are going to think we're selling. Who could have thought that at some point I'd be able to sit on the sidelines with no problem whatsoever. I'm chilled, not taking a trade, and that's progress we often overlook. The patience grows with time and experience too. 100%. 100%, and I'm glad that you said that because it is so true. So true. Still can't watch the educational videos or the breakdown videos. Are they not loading? Try load the portal on a different browser. Try load the portal on a different browser. That should sort it out. James guarantees someone on the YouTube live is sold. Probably. Probably. So, I really like the look of GJ, and I know we are quite far off the 4-hour close, but if we do, like I said earlier in the analysis recording, right, on the analysis we covered, if we do get a strong bullish close on the current 4-hour candle into this region, and we get price gets above and closes strong bullish above that minor level within the consolidation, above the critical, above that daily low, right? We can then start looking at a bit more of an aggressive play. Obviously, we'd have to adjust risk accordingly, but then we could start looking at something along the lines of that. So for the higher time frame move. But now, as you know, we've been through this how many times before, And if you go and have a look at the breakdown that we did not so long ago, explaining what we can do when we're looking at a 4-hour engulf, right? We can then drop down to the lower time frames, because the lower time frames has some vital information, right? And then on the pullback, we know exactly what we need to do on the lower time frames and what we need to wait for, right? Nice and simple. 50 to 75%, you know that 50 to 75%, and then you know what you need to see on the 5-minute or the 15-minute. So we'll see if that plays out. So there you go. There's the close of the 30-minute. Not really happy with that. Like I said, I don't see why we should put risk on the table here, especially with such a terrible risk reward. You know, it makes sense to rather just wait for the break of the low. But then we've also got a time frame in hand. We've got the hour. So if we get the hourly close like this, we could then potentially see you know, a pullback, which might then just allow us to get that tighter stop. So we're then looking at a stop. Okay, no, it's roughly the same over there, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's not what we're looking at, right? That's not what we're looking at. Yeah. So now we just wait. Shimmy, yeah. I will get to that as soon as I wrap all of this up. I will get to that. It actually crossed my mind right now, so I'll get to that as soon as we wrap this up. So Kerwin, with regards to that question, you'll see that 50 to 75% occurs at the critical. That's why we wait on that 50 to 75%, because that 50 to 75% is the critical, roughly speaking. Any trading book recommendations? Should I maybe upload a trading or a book to the portal? A book you find very, very helpful. Maybe I should upload that to the portal so that you guys have access to it. I'll see if that's possible. I'll see if that is possible. Okay. So, you know, I mean, it now comes down to a bit of patience. We're not looking for anything here. Like I've said, I don't know how many times now. GBP USD, that is what we're waiting for. So yeah, we'll see what we get within the next 30 minutes or so. We'll wait for the hourly to close. We will wait for the hourly to close. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the live stream up, and then we can take this back to the community webinar. I'll stay on the community webinar because it looks as if we might be able to trade this live through session. Yeah, so we'll then take it from there. Right, have a good one for those, or have a great day for those that are on the YouTube live. Yeah, let's see if we get what we are waiting for.